Strings.
Go. Yeah. Direct it, make it. Go. Yeah. As I was told.
To Connected, I'm your host, DJ Iz. I got my lovely co-host, Miss Chloe.
Hi guys, happy
Hey.
Monday.
We got a couch full of guests. So before we get into that, we just want to shout out all of you who are tuning in, made it a point to get up, get on your computer, or you're catching our podcast on Google Play or our other podcasts.
I mean, we're everywhere,
We're
guys.
everywhere. So here we are. We're in the house of Roland, and let's get to it. I got my man Zenzo, DJ Axenzo. I got my man DJ Mr. Choc.
Hey, what's up?
And I got my man Eagle.
Roland.
Yeah.
Who wants to act like he doesn't want to sit on this couch right now?
He's too cool for school, but I love it. Well, man, thank you guys for coming in today, man. And for me, it's an incredible, it's an important show for me because, for one, just not only being a producing or DJing, to actually have the dudes on the show who are in the field every single day, who's been doing it for a very long time. And I really just want to tell the story of what the culture is, where it's at, where it started, how it originated, just the art, the craft that goes into it. And we've had this conversation numerous times, Choc, and you actually DJ'd my birthday party. And it was so dope because it was like, to have one of my own personal heroes in that environment and just to have you there, man, was something incredible.
It was my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And by the way, shout out to all the fathers. I hope you all had a great, incredible Father's Day yesterday.
And I think also what you were saying too is that it's a blend of worlds, right? We're getting two totally different perspectives today,
Absolutely, yeah.
which is part of what we, usually we'll get one on one show, another perspective on another show, but today we actually have the fortune of not just generation, but also sides of the musical
different
spectrum.
sides of the spectrum, yeah.
You know?
Which I think too is key. I think seeing just how we once did it, right? We went to the store, we bought two of the same vinyls, right? Just so we can have extra bars, go here, then go there.
Yeah.
And now we're in the world of still that, but now we have controllers. Now we have a whole different world of DJs who are kind of using controllers in a completely different way. And I kind of just want to tell that story, man, and just kind of touch on a couple key things that I refuse to let get lost in translation. Because I think for me, the great thing with being able to travel the world and DJ is I've been kind of able to kind of stand back and watch and kind of just observe how, let's say, for instance, a DJ like yourself, Axenzo, who's primarily, on the electronica side, EDM side, completely different culture, versus, standing behind a Mr. Choc and it's very much still vinyl, and those, the fundamentals of that DJ, man, and kind of just want to get your guys' opinion today, man, on what it is for you, what you love about it, how much of it is craft, how much of it is actual skill, how much of it is just, a fun factor, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of just want to open the floor, man.
For me, I really love where DJing is at right now. I've been doing this for 32 years now at this point. Started buying records at the age of 13, started DJing at the age of 15. And, just to see it come from where it started at, on turntables.
Right.
And now to where, now we're DJing off computers, we're DJing off CDJs, we're DJing off controllers. I love it where it's at now. I still feel like the foundation of it, though, is still applying what you learn on turntables to these controllers, to these CDJs. I think that's very, very important still.
You're right. Yeah. Right. How about you, Axenzo?
For me, I just use CDJs, but my part coming from producing, all my sets I like to touch for every track I play. I'm not like a very good scratcher, or I'm not good at vinyl, but I like to prepare beforehand and do the harmonic mixing, and do everything prepared and go to stage and rock it.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
it's also good to note that Axenzo is you're a recording connection student and you're based in San Diego.
That's correct,
That's
yes.
correct,
Yes.
right? So you're like on the journey when we talk about tell us your story and what have you. This is like you on the ground running.
Yes.
And at the getting started and at the very beginning of your career.
That's correct, yes.
Which is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, before that, I graduated from mechanical engineering at San Diego State, and then I took many music classes during that time because I always wanted to be in the music, and thank God I found recording connection. I mean,
Dope.
because everything was so theoretical in my school, and I didn't able to get into field because of that. And I started with recording connection. I started with Patrick Haney at the Phaser Studios in San Diego. Beside the audio engineering, he teach me how to produce on Logic. So that's my journey started.
Yeah.
And you just performed at Coachella too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge factor. I think coming when you have a well-rounded, musical background, I think it just only allows you to really, implement that certain information into your actual craft.
Yeah, same for me. I
Yeah.
come from being a drummer, like in a marching band when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And, see, like,
That's dope.
yeah, but like, I think that it helped me understand a lot of the techniques in DJing when I started DJing. Like, okay, cool. So it's like, this is a quarter note, this is a whole note.
Yeah.
I can understand basic music theory.
Yeah.
So I apply that to DJing, and that's also how I teach now, also too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think too, like one of the things you said that was key to me was just the ability to still mix whatever tool it is you're using as a teacher. I mean, the ability to just mix and know what records blend together well, which ones don't, and I think just the generation of where DJs are at right now, it's like, I know for me it's hard to go to a spot and just really truly enjoy the DJ who's playing at whatever spot I'm in.
We're different types of people, though. I think like when you're a DJ or producer, we don't listen to music like your average listener. We're listening to music on how, like, okay, oh, they put this key in there, or they put this breakdown there. Like for me, like when I listen to music, I'm always listening to it like, oh, okay, that's an 8-bar chorus I can mix out right there, or I could actually take that outro and put it, and come in and use it to as an intro for a transition instead.
Right.
Like I listen to music differently than what your average listener does, and I think that's for anyone who's a DJ or producer or plays an instrument or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many years are you at now, Choc, as far as DJ?
32 years.
32 years.
Yeah.
A shout out
And
to
he's
the
only
bro.
34.
Yeah. So that's 32 years, and definitely want to make a point to shout out the bro famous Beat Junkies. I mean, I've been following you guys for a long time. I mean,
my brothers.
Redmatic, J-Rock, Melody, Shortcut,
D-Styles, Babu.
man, just the culture, and I think it's been great because you kind of you get to see just the influence you guys have had throughout the years and the lineage and the longevity that you guys are still like the cats. You know what I'm saying? Like
and the thing is that we didn't do it for popularity or to like become a star or anything like that at all. I think we actually just love the craft and the fact that we were able to all find each other and become a crew in '92. I think that stands the testament of time, like how much we love this craft and how important it is to us to like now for the next generation that's come up to show them how we came up also too, and teach them the same way. There's computers now, there's controllers, there's CDJs, but there's still a way to learn this craft,
right,
and still be able to apply the craft to these other instruments, the other hardware. Yeah.
For instance, like I got a chance. One of the things we got to do early on is we had the DJ 808 launch day, which streamed in various countries, and I got a chance to see, surprisingly, a cat like DJ Melody get on a controller and then just take it to a whole nother level. And when you look at what he's doing on a DJ 808, it's like, for me, it makes all the sense of the world because I know where that cat came from, all he's doing is really just maximizing the ability he already has. I mean, what's great is to be able to do something on a controller like an 808 and know you can still do that on vinyl if it came down to it.
It's also about the prep though too.
Yeah.
Man. Like Melody and all of us in the crew, we're all very serious about practice time and preparing before a gig or exhibition or festival, whatever club, whatever we're doing. That prep time is very, very, very important. So I know before Mello did that 808 exhibition, like he learned the machine all the way through, like we all of us.
Yeah, execution is, man. That's what you guys do.
Yeah.
How much, as far as like when you're doing a show, Zenzo, like how much time do what do you gauge your show or your let's say just your set list? What do you gauge those things on?
2 hours.
2 hours
max, because what I do is that I harmonically mix, and with the energy levels you cannot go more than 2 hours. I'm trying energy level 4 and then going to 10 and then lowering again to 6 to leave people happy at the end of the night. Obviously if I go a little bit over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I cannot keep the same energy.
Sure.
Okay.
So
now what is your performance consist of as far as a DJ? Obviously you're mixing.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're playing with filters.
Absolutely. Yes.
Stutters.
Yes.
Kind of talk to me about that. Just kind of what your arsenal is as far as your overall show presentation.
Honestly, it's very basic mixing, because as I mentioned, I prepare everything beforehand. So what I do actually in the beginning, I take the songs, I analyze it, I look at which notes are they with the mixing key.
Absolutely.
And then I put it on my record box, I analyze everything. If I need to edit something, I edit it. And I say, okay, I'm gonna start from the number 1 to number 20. And it depends. Sometimes I change a couple tracks. It depends on the crowd. But yeah, I don't take any requests. I know what I'm gonna play. I know people are gonna be happy
I think
with
it's different for you too, because I think you're an artist DJ. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is my show. This is how I'm rocking.
Right.
And this is
like
where I'm
it,
going.
like it. If you
Take the ride with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what it was like at Coachella? And you also just finished an extended engagement in Vegas.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Can you talk about either of those, or is it hush hush?
Oh no, actually, I have so big things happening. I have a new residency coming up, but I cannot say it right now. So you guys can check it out on my Instagram, Axenzo, or my stories. I don't know, in the next weeks.
Social media.
Check me out on social media.
Very, very big things happening. Thank God, and I'm so thankful, so honored to be.
That's awesome. Man.
Part of RF and. To
And I think too, like to me, it just today was symbolized a great show, because I think, really folks understanding just how things run kind of or need to run kind of just cohesively with DJs on vinyl and DJs in the controller world. And I think for me, even as a producer, as a person who's passionate about my craft, I don't really touch anything else outside of my MPC 3000 and my vinyl. So by the time I got to rocking on an 808, it wasn't like there was any type of translation loss, because I think how they first got involved in the culture with like a melody, they understood the importance of like, okay, if we're gonna jump in this lane, we gotta really, really dive in a real way, so it's so it's well embraced, and it's not like we don't look as DJs, they did that because that shit is just
right.
What I'm saying. And
I gotta ask, being that you've been doing it for a while, was it like, were you scared of technology at first, as far as like when it comes to the DJing? Because I'll tell you my story. Like when in 2005, when I first bought Serato, I bought it. I went and bought the Mac. I bought the software, and I set it by my turntables for like a month. Box unopened, didn't open the computer, nothing, because I was so scared of it.
I was afraid of it.
But I was sold on it because I had seen some of my best friends use it, and I saw Jazzy Jeff. And Jazzy Jeff, I hosted a show with Jazzy Jeff in 2005. In January of 2005, and I remember I asked him, I said, so what's up with this Serato thing, man? And he just goes, it's the shit. That's all he said.
So same thing for me, and I'm glad you asked. So I'll never forget, and this was years ago, bro. I want to say no later than 2006 maybe, and DJ Revolution. And I was like, dude, I know you got stacks and stacks of vinyl at your crib, and I was like, are you trying to figure out how you're gonna now convert all that? And you know, he's like, I was like, dude, I don't know. I don't know if I can go there, Rev. And he said, it's never going back for me.
Which is true.
So
Because he was the first one I saw on it. Revolution was on it, and then J-Rock, my boy, my partner in the Beat Junkies. And I still wasn't convinced.
Dude,
I saw Revolution perform on it. I heard the audio from J-Rock's mix, and he said, yeah, it's Serato. And I was like, man, it sounds like real records. So I still wasn't bugging out on it. Then I saw Jeff, man, and then that next day I went, and here you go, here's all my money, the computer,
and
software.
I think for me that fear factor, you know, is because, you know, you're looking at, okay, now I gotta like transport, now I gotta convert, how do I get on my vinyl into my computer? How do I do that? So it was hard for me to really digest that, you know, and I was always, I'm an analog dude at heart, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking analog, warm sounds better. I'm thinking Sonics, and the first thing that came to my mind, and Igor, you can jump in on this, was, okay, are we gonna get a whole lot of people playing really terrible sounding files?
Which happened.
We're audio dudes, you know what I'm saying? Which happened, right? Because I'm like, man, as much as AIFs took up on my computer at the time, I was like, dude, I'm not spending anything less than AIFs and waves, but you couldn't get all that, you know what I'm saying? It was like, you gotta, let me go to download, let me go to mp3.com, and you know, and it's just like, and now you see a lot of people who, you walk in, you're like, oh man, that's a bad MP3.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds terrible. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember when I finally did open the box, and I started messing around with it, and I started getting used to it. I was like, you know what, man? Like, I have a lot of, you know, I had a lot of songs digitized at that time. But then I just started saying, you know what, I got to go through my records. Because I was getting songs that didn't have the instrumentals or the acapellas or even like the dirty edit, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me start burning my records. So every day I burn like maybe 10 or 15 records a day.
And it's time consuming, bro.
Yeah, oh my God, all day.
All day, bro.
All day.
Before you know it, you know, you start at 10, you know, before you know it, it's 10:30 p.m. and you're like, I only burned through, because you know, I know like me, I was like, okay, if I burn these vinyls, I'm gonna EQ them, I'm gonna boost up the dB, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So. But that's, you know, that's what goes into, you know, the conversion.
If you talk about the preparation, you talk about what it takes, then this is the thing. This is the beast.
Right.
You know, it's no different than showing up and taking a class or some. It's what it is.
You have to be passionate about it.
You gotta be passionate about it. You gotta love it.
On every part of it, though, not just like, okay, I'm a DJ now and I'm on stage. Woo! I'm so passionate. No, the passion has to go before that. Absolutely. It has to go with the prep. Has to go with the music, how you're programming your music. It has to go with like when you're actually out at a gig and you have a program set, but then you're looking out like, okay, they're not really feeling these songs.
Yes.
I need to call an audible real quick.
Right.
Which is what Axenzo was just saying. You see the crowd and you're like, okay, all right, this is not working. What do we do now?
Right.
Call an audible. Hey, football. Hey, football.
And there's gears, and you know, I think for me as creators, I think it's always something to be mindful when you become a slave to, you know, your gear. Let's say, you know, when your computer crashes, you know, and you all know as a DJ, when the music stops, that's always a no-no. That's like hey man, it's almost like, man, who pulled the power? Somebody pulled the power cable, and you're looking at your computer like, oh man.
I will say, like, it took me a month to open the box. It took me another month to actually come out and play live with it. Right. But when I did, I was still bringing a crate of records with me because I'd already heard the horror stories about like the computers crashing and everything. I was like, man, if that happens, I don't want that dead silence, so I'm gonna be able to grab a record real quick and put it on. You know, and I still travel like that. Not with a big crate anymore, but you know, I'll still have maybe at least
your
like
go-to
10 or 12 records on me.
vinyls.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's insurance.
Oh yeah,
insurance.
Plus, I want to get paid after the gig. You know what I'm saying? You were hired to do 2 hours. You were hired to do 2 hours. You only did 30 minutes. So,
you want to call this guy? I don't remember last time. Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be hired back.
I do want to take this opportunity because we talked a little bit before about it, but our show is jobs. We give them away. We have them. We give them. Well, we present opportunities. I feel like this is a great time for a grind out.
Let's do it. Let's jump into a grind out. Feel free to chime in, guys, if you see any details we're missing. Igor, if you see some, you know, especially in your lane, it's like, I'm sure you'll dive in. Here we go. First grind out of the day is in the field of content creator. This is in New York City. Must have experience with Adobe Premiere. Must have ability to produce independent video shoot. Must have high interest in food recipes and other lifestyle video content creation. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Content creator. I've seen various content creators. I'm a content creator.
This is the whole description, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm afraid there's going to be about 15 million calls.
Only 15 million?
Because somebody who says that you have to have an interest in the recipes and the food and the content, that's me. I'll go. I mean, this is great.
Let's get a app immediately to Igor. He's going to fill one out.
He's ready to go.
He's hungry and ready to go. I think that also, as we transition out of that, and it's great actually that we do have you, Axenzo, because you are currently in the RFC and working it. And we also
I actually graduate.
Well, graduate.
But I am still in.
He's Illuminati now.
Yeah,
Illuminati. He's official.
But we do like to highlight our current students, or for the current students as well as the graduates. And this week we are highlighting Tavior Mowry, if you want to roll that graphic. He was on the track to playing in the NFL and then had a very, very serious injury. And now he is on the track for music, and he's studying with RFC. And that's who we're highlighting this week in the newsletter, so y'all can check it out.
Yeah, we always make it a point to highlight our students on the come up. Kind of like, which is why I love so much what you guys are doing with the Institute of Sound. I think anytime you see kids DJing on vinyl and learning, dude, when I see those joints on social, man, I'm just like, love, how can I also,
I know they do need something stronger than a like.
No, we're really happy with the way that our new school, Be Junkie Institute of Sound, has been received, and we're having a blast. I've been teaching for over 11 years. I used to be the director over at Scratch Academy, and I actually helped open their doors over in 2005. And I left after 11 years at Scratch, and then got with my brothers, and we opened up our own school, Be Junkie Institute of Sound. Grand opening was April 15th. Our classes started May 1st, and we're now 2 semesters in, and the way it's been received is amazing.
It's amazing, bro.
We have classes for kids. Our kids' classes have really been a big hit. We have our linear curriculum, which is the foundation, which we're teaching you all on vinyl, and then we graduate to the digital. And then we start showing you. So we give you all the mechanics that you need to know as far as where the one is at, the basic music theory, how to scratch, how to do a baby scratch, how to do a release, where you're at, where you're actually going to drop in the transition, how to find the one. We teach you all those things first before we even get to the digital.
Yeah.
Then once you get to the digital, okay, I already know how to do all this, and now I can just hit the cue point. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very important for us to teach in that way.
The lineage,
Yeah, but we also have scratching. We also have beat juggling, and the way that we teach how to DJ, you can apply it to anything. So if you come to our school and you learn from us, and if you're on a controller, you can apply what we're showing you on a controller. You can apply it to a CDJ. You can apply it to the 808. You could apply it to anything. But that's the way we teach.
Yeah, which is a great way. And I think, to me, it's a great show because we actually, Zenzo, you're kind of you're on the come up, man. You're establishing yourself, and I think it's important for you to meet a guy like Igor because these folks you're gonna cross their paths eventually, and allowing you to understand what really artist relations is and how you kind of engage with the company. And I know for me, just looking at how you get down and what your setup is, I know you probably kill on a DJ 808. But I want you to kind of just understand what goes into just the day-to-day of how companies like a Roland engage with an artist like yourself, who's kind of on the rise, who's making a lot of noise right now. Yes. So, I got my man Igor here. So kind of just tell me, kind of just cover the process of how you engage with an artist, some of the things you guys look for, and how the relationship works.
Well, I guess it all starts with who the artist is and who the company is. A relationship between the artist and the company is very much as an intimate relation with somebody else in your life. Different people, different interests, different outlook and longevity of that relationship.
Yes.
There's AR, which is, let's have fun together for a few days. There's AR that, hey, let's see what's gonna work out. There is AR that one of the two parties is looking for long term, the other party has no idea, and you better don't scare them
Right.
with your long term desire. It all sounds like you're meeting somebody and you want to do something together because you both have something that you want to do something, you want to accomplish something.
I agree.
I think that real artist relations, when it's done right, and if the company understands the artists and artist understands the company, which is not always the case, if they both parties do, there is no lose. There's only win-win. In a business, usually somebody's got to lose for somebody to win. That's just how the world works.
This is a collaboration.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are so few opportunities in life when somebody comes up to you and says, listen, we can do this and this, and both of us in the end gonna get something out of it.
Yes.
99% of situations like this, you listen to this and you think, okay, that's bogus. That never happens. But in artist relations, if it's done right, both will help because it's a mutually inclusive partnership when you both promoting each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Igor,
that's pretty much
yeah.
like, how can you lose, especially these days with internet and Instagram and
Right.
social media and everything,
Right.
and then there is no lose.
Yes.
So the only thing that it's the thresholds in how much expectations each party
Yeah.
has, of course, and the longevity of that relationship, how it is and if it's done properly. And I think that it all depends on the company and it depends on the artists. And I think there are constant factors in this. The constant factor would be that I would say 90% of the artists, deservingly so, feel like they should be supported by the companies because they put so much effort and so much passion in what they do. And the farther they are in the career, they feel like, listen, I put some serious life into it. I put my life and put my relationships aside, and here I am. So they expect something. And for me as an AR guy, if I don't understand that from their side, I shouldn't do this job. It's a very common thing with the AR guys that get,
Yeah,
kind
but-
of like this, like, oh, wait a minute, like everybody wants something. Yeah, they do. Yes, because if I remember how I started, and then I understand.
Yeah,
I understand this.
but and I agree with you, Igor. But I also think there's a dynamic that plays into even who you are as not just the AR guy, but a guy who's also a musician who's put in the
Well,
time.
that
And I
was-
think you understand the culture of
And
what that is.
that was kind of like the reason for me to come into AR work because I am a musician. I've been with Roland 23 years, not to bore everybody with my
Yeah,
background.
that's
I
a long
was
time.
born and
bro.
everybody like turning off the computer. I've been with Roland 23 years and I did a lot of things, but I've been, I made it very clear from the beginning. You hired me because I'm a good musician. This is what I want to do. And thanks to the company, how the company is structured and understanding of the guys at the top, they said, yeah, if he's good at this, just let him do this. Not everybody needs to be CEO of the company. That's
Right.
perfectly fine.
Right.
And I've been doing in music. I've been doing sound design and patches and writing tracks for the video that we were producing. Work with the video team very tightly. Content development, as we just so things like this. So going on locations with the video team, holding the mic, coming back in the studio, mixing it, learning everything, and so I enjoyed it too much.
Yeah.
Not that long time ago, everything kind of changed and it came on the second part, and the guys upstairs just called me up and said, we know that you do this, you have a music background, you do projects on the side, I'm not going to go drop any names, nobody needs to know. But we want to apply your experience to the artist relations because we think it helps.
Yeah.
And it's exactly this. I have conversations with artists that 20, 30 minutes in, they say, wait a minute, that's right, I forgot, so let's talk about Roland.
Yeah.
Because we talk about gear, we talk about music, we're talking about where the world is
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
what is, you know what I mean? Like I do that because I love
Yeah.
to talk about it.
But
And
you know
I-
what?
And
It's
I meet
also-
people like you,
Yeah.
and I'm getting paid for this. Are you kidding me? Like, how cool is that? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So it's but it is just like a relationship. Every time, every case is very different.
Igor, I'm going to jump in for 1 second because what you're saying is something that we do talk about a lot on the show, and it's about the creation of opportunity just by getting in the door. And we say overperform, like hashtag overperform. And what you just described, like your whole trajectory and time with Roland has basically been like showing up, being the best at what you do, and also having the ability and the hunger to be able to reach out and do all these other things to the point where an opportunity was created for you.
For me, yeah. And it's interesting because up to that point, frankly, it probably was the first time when the opportunity was created inside of the company and offered to me. It happened just a little bit over a year ago. I started doing this. I cannot believe it. Feels like years and years.
Wow.
All this time, everything that I was doing by that needs to be done.
Yep.
I'm gonna start doing this. Are you okay with that? Yes, we're okay with that. And I will do anything.
Take an initiative.
Anything. I'll take initiative.
Yeah.
Because I was like this with my music. This is how I am. I take initiative if something needs to be done.
Yeah.
I did some things which word audio cannot be even attached to. You know what I mean? Because it needed to be done.
Yeah.
And this is how it happens. Once you're on the inside, you put your passion forward. You do what you can, but you constantly look around. What else can you offer? And it can enrich what you do.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the main reasons why I really connected with Roland is because I was able to really, see and kind of like analyze your guys' overall perspective on just, the culture of musicians itself and creators. And for me, I've been around the block for so long. You see who's in it to extract a piece from the culture, bounce out, claim it as their own. And when I was able to we both walked the floor at NAMM and did interviews. And you see these companies like, man, let's just try to sell something, man. And then you go to a company like Roland, and you got just the culture is there. They're talking to people. It's like, man, everybody's just playing the gear. And then you see a cat like Melody get up there, and it's like,
Yeah, I'm not just saying this because I'm here at Roland right now, but I'll say this: out of all the controllers that I have messed with, this is by far the 808 is by far the best one.
Hands down.
And that's the one that we all kind of gravitated to as soon as we saw it. It was like, okay, this controller is official.
It's official, and that was one of the things that I was able to see early on in is, when a company as big as Roland really makes it a point to dive into the real community of DJs, just so they know by the time the product gets to us, we're not like, well, how come this ain't, they didn't, oh man, this faded. It's like, it's the point of connection was there, and which is key for me and a guy like you, Igor, is because the only way that story is told by you being, having your finger on the pulse, talking to a DJ who's on the up and coming like Axenzo, and then sitting down and having a conversation with a guy like Choc or Melody. It's like that's where it needs to get back to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I remember at one point, back in the day, you would see Herbie rocking, you'd see Chick Corea with Yamaha. They made it a point to really get in the trenches with these dudes. So by the time, you get on this keyboard, it's like, oh man, the keys feel right, the way, it feels right. And
it gives both ways, like I said. If it's done right, it gives both ways. Right. And this is why this relationship, it always reflects on the instruments that the company makes. Because let's face it, if there's no musicians, if there's no DJs, we're not going to be in the business, right?
Right.
I mean, who's going to buy it?
Right.
So in the end, it has to work for guys.
But I think too, I agree with that. But I think too, there's a huge piece of it to where you guys no longer have to tell the story. It's guys like Choc, me, and Melody, Zenzo, that then begin to tell that story for you because we believe in it, and it's undeniable, And I think too, there's a misconception where the guy who's just getting into the game, it's like, yeah, man, let me link up with this company because I need to get some free gear.
Man, I've heard that from so many young students. Like, man, so how do I get sponsorship? Who do I go with?
So talk about that. That does exist
Well, first of all, this is probably one of the misconceptions that I have to deal very often. It's the word sponsorship. Either sponsorship or endorsement. Those two words, which mean so much, and in the same time, you don't know what they mean when they say that. I think that sponsorship, at least, I think it's a little bit more defined, because sponsorship, it's very often you just write a check to somebody and you just support them because the cause is great.
Right.
Sponsorship could be, the instruments for some event, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just like, hey, we need this, and this. Sponsorship by providing the gear. This is a great thing. It's all cool. Sponsorship and artist relations, it's not exactly the same thing.
Right.
Endorsement, the whole word comes, I think mainly perception of this word is with apparel and fashion.
Right.
Like they see basketball players and they're all in Nike, right? And it's like,
I only drink Pepsi.
I would like to and it's, hey, it's a great thing. Somebody says, I would like to use everything Roland, and it's amazing, and it's great, and it's flattering because somebody wants to do that, and somebody wants. That's hands down. There's no doubt about it. The only difference is that we make 1,500 different products and instruments. How many artists are out there who we actually want to support and want to deal with? There's absolutely no way that we can have a few hundred artists who will say, okay, now, considering that I have an endorsement, I would like to have a TD-50 kit, I'd like to have electric grand piano, a couple DJ 808s and everything. And this is a one guy, right?
Wish list.
Just a little wish list. So, and I usually smile at this, and I tell my friends, it's like, if we have 20 guys like this, we're out of business in 2 weeks. Easily. Our warehouse is empty, we got nothing. So in our case, the whole endorsement, it's a completely different game. And it's usually, we have to identify somebody who we believe represents that culture.
Right. Yes.
On our side.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily A-list, amazing Billboard #1 everywhere. That's a different story. It could be a startup.
Right.
It could be somebody.
Yeah.
Personality should be there, and you look at it and you say, this guy or this girl is going to go far.
It has to make sense.
It has to make sense.
Yeah.
And that's when the relationship starts. And from the artist's point of view, which hard to imagine, but out of all the instruments that we make, not all the instruments we really want to promote.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to choose the winning horse.
Right, yeah.
So you choose a few of those, and that's when you're trying to put them forward
Right.
and try to promote that.
Right.
And sometimes artists need something that is already selling well, and it's just not on this marketing plan of let's support it with more artists and more.
Right.
So how do you do that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't change their needs.
Right.
So there are different avenues and the different angles that you can take with this, but this is, the other thing that I put for it, and that's again because why I do this. It's almost like a product support. It's almost an understanding of what this instrument does. I get this conversation constantly that artists go in and say, what about this, and this? And my first question is, what else are you using? Oh, I'm using this and that. Well, why would you use this and this?
Yeah, they try to integrate everything.
And they just say, I didn't even know that you make it.
Right.
And then a couple of weeks later, we can go in the studio and help out to see how it's all set up and if it works or not. That's where the relationship is. This is what the value of true artist relation is.
Yeah.
Not just to give you a piece of gear, which is great and awesome, and take a picture with you and put it in a ROM.
Right.
After that, neither side won.
Right.
Like literally, neither side won on this.
Right.
And if you keep that going forward, that's where the value is. That's why I'm saying everybody wins out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible with everyone? Is it possible with everyone that, let's say, on my list of the artists right now? No, it is not. It's unrealistic. Just because, again, it's a relationship, different people. Some of them don't want that, and that's perfectly, I respect that.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationship and opportunity, I feel like we should give some more opportunities and present some more.
Bam,
concepts.
let's do it, honey.
Boom. Love it. Ron, we roll it for grind out #2. Please, yes, John's some more.
Oh, snap. We got okay. Yeah, grind out #2. Studio intern. This is Los Angeles, California. LA-based music producer Alec Arias, who has worked with Chair, Matchbox 20, the Moglis, and more, seeks intern for summer 2017. This is a great position for those looking for hands-on experience with a seasoned professional.
Boom,
This could
that's
be
done.
cool.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah, I also feel like since we're in the grind out vein, how y'all feel about doing one more? Are we on board with that?
Yeah, yeah,
Should we
yeah,
all
yeah,
just
yeah.
roll it? Grind out
This was
number 3.
excellent, by the way.
Yeah, it's great, and we can
That
talk
was
about
good
both.
fun.
Grind out number 3. This is in the field of studio engineer.
In Murray, Kentucky.
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 Chance to be grandfathered into the brand new audio program at Murray State University. Hey, a chance to be grandfathered.
Listen, that's
That's a hookup.
ground
Yeah,
floor.
right.
Code word hookup. Knowledge of acoustics, microphone setup, placement, breakdown, and general audio equipment knowledge plus recording techniques is a must. Now, Evo, I know it's techniques, right? Like, you don't just decide to roll out of bed and like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be able to mic this drum kit or know how to place these mics. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen so many cats go down in flames. Like, I'm like,
wanna
yo,
do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like, because I know a slew of cats in the engineering world. So like, hey man, there's this opportunity, man. But before you take, and
Yep.
do you know how to mic a guitar, a vintage? Do you know how to? Don't go in there like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Because those dudes get sent
They will
home right
ask you.
away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And not called back.
never come back.
Again, it's a basic. It's exactly what you were talking about. This is where he came from. It's those basic skills. It's a foundation.
Yeah.
And you can move forward, and you will switch paradigm and some digital and anything. It doesn't matter. All of that serves him to go forward. And there would be a situation when that will save him. Because it's a
Absolutely.
fundamental skill
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
And this is just the reality.
It never goes away, man. I
Never
tell
goes
cats, whatever trade or skill, it's like fundamentals. Even for what we do here at Connected, has always been preached because it's the backbone of everything, man. It's like,
Yeah.
And and interesting because when you come from DJing, you in a sense you are removed from all this band playing thing. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You own your own. You set your own rules.
You control
have
the
your-
music,
You
yeah.
control that.
yeah, you're the conductor,
And,
man.
and it
Yeah.
almost gets like I talk to some DJs that saying, well, yeah, it's the guys that's setting it up. It's like I never set up the guitar. I never set up the kit. Today you didn't. Tomorrow you may need.
Yeah.
I know the guys who making beats that they have the full studio recording at home, and they make samples of their own snare out of God knows anything that gets in their hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they know how to do that. They experiment, they sample, they
Yeah.
put the layer of them. They pretty much make their own personal simple
Yeah.
libraries.
Which I think plays into a key point of just your own identity as a creator, a DJ. I'm from the era, man, where everybody had their own identity. There was like, there's a difference between Primo and Pete Rock and Marley Marr and the Bomb Squad. There was a sonic difference.
There's something about learning technique and learning moves and learning different production, how to do beats or whatever, but keep your own identity within that. Like, if I'm a producer, if I want to learn how Pete Rock is putting together a beat, or even like from you if I want to learn how you produce a beat, I'll learn how you do it, but I'm not going to do it like you.
Right.
I'm going to apply, I'm going to keep my own style in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is why I loved analog gear so much, because a lot of the analog drum machines, man, you had to put content in it, right?
Yep.
So when you have to put content in something, you're gonna
already your
put something
own
different in it.
influence.
I'm
Yep.
gonna put something different,
Yep.
and through that,
Yep.
we're able to find our own identity. It's like when cats were playing, even some of the old joints like the Jupiters and stuff. It's like, man, everybody was freaking them different. It's like everybody had a different way, man. It's like that's what I loved about a Moog. You
It's kind of
different
what
dials.
happened with the DJ world as of late. It's like people want to get into DJing and they buy a computer and they start DJing, but then they lose their identity because now they're in the club and they're just playing the same 10 songs every week, not really trying to like learn about any other genres, not really looking at the crowd, reading the crowd at all. Like it's very easy for them to lose their identity, but that's why it's important for us with our school, Be Junkies Do the Sound, to have that to where we can show you not to lose your identity, learn how to troubleshoot in case something does go wrong with the equipment,
Yeah.
and okay, let me stop for a second, everything's not working properly, let me figure out what's going on.
Right.
Let me
Excellent.
trace it.
Which is a
Axenzo's
great,
a strong head nod.
which leads me to
Yes.
Axenzo. Like, we're starting to see a whole lot of DJ artists. And what are some of the ways you even go about your artistry and just kind of having your own personal identity, your sound, your presentation, your shows? Like, what are some of those things that stand out for you?
I believe that's the most important thing. If there's Tiesto right now, if there's Skrillex right now, it's because of their uniqueness.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go out there, I can play sorry, I forgot your name.
Oh, Choc.
Choc.
Yeah.
Mr. Choc said, go out there, I can play Despacito, all these songs that people love, and they're gonna be like, oh, tonight was great, but tomorrow nobody's gonna remember me.
Yeah.
That's why I have to put my special touch,
Yeah.
just like the big DJs, so people are like, I have never heard this song, but it sounds great.
Yeah.
And the next day they are hearing it again, and then they are going to my SoundCloud and they are like, okay, can you send me this song?
What inspires you to like when you get into your remixes
Yes.
or you're just how you're doing things? What are some of the things that inspire you?
Honestly, there's two types of musicians, I guess. One of them just directly goes to the studio and creates stuff. Me, I am either driving or I am in the shower. I have some kind of notes flying in my brain. I just rush outside, record it. Very basic, like a voice recording kind of thing. Ba-da-da-da-ba-da-bum. And then I go to my computer. I start to play with it, and then go to the studio and make it a good track.
So do you have an album coming, like another album? Are you doing
yes,
EPs?
I have many tracks coming.
Nice.
I didn't. I have maybe 15 tracks sitting at home. I didn't master yet. So
Okay, so you do your own mastering too?
yes, I do my mixing, mastering.
See that, and that's another thing that for us to talk about, man. Is
That's right.
because it's like
That's right.
nowadays I'm always looking for who's self-contained, right? Because we have to be, And I remember at one point, I know you can verify this, Choc. It's like, as a creator or even as a DJ putting a record together, right? You put it together, you get somebody to come in and mix it. Then you got to take it to the mastering plant. That's just the era we came from, where everything. Like I did my thing, okay, now I gotta hand it off, and so
Put the polish on it.
Yeah, put the polish on it. So now we're at a point where it's like you got an artist like yourself who's, start to finish, which is great, man. Like I really believe more than ever, just with the tools we've been given, it's like we got to be self-sufficient.
This seems like that's a whole trajectory of music in the last 30,
Not just
40 years.
it's everywhere though. Not just.
I think it's everywhere. I think you're absolutely right. It's
Yeah.
probably everywhere. I am 55 years old, so I remember 80s. My 80s was my decade. Right?
Yeah.
70s introduced me to rock music and to everything. 80s was my decade when I was in college and everything. That was my.
You were kicking ass in the 80s. I already know.
Man, people say, well, 70s was fun. You have no idea about that.
I know the 80s were just monstrous.
But at that time, everything was segmented, right?
Yeah.
That was a producer. This was an engineer.
Yeah,
This guy was a musician. This guy was A&R guy.
Yeah.
And then you go to the record labels, and how many record labels there are, really majors out there, and ain't none of those guys like you. You can go back to where you came from because there's literally that many opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Everything was on. And now it's a convergence of everything in one. Now a creator, an artist became everything.
Yeah.
You can have your own label.
He's his
you
own
can master.
publicist,
Have
his
your
own master.
publicist, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is up to you.
Yeah.
You can do all of this, and there's no excuse not to learn it because knowledge is available everywhere too.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is available.
Yeah.
Knowledge is available.
Yeah, it's
available.
funny too because I get a lot of questions here like, I'm a songwriter or I'm a DJ. Where should I go? How do I get my music out? I'm like scratching my head like, SoundCloud, Audio Mac, Facebook, Instagram. There's so much more than what we had.
There was no internet when we were coming up.
internet, bro. It was like
scratches.
cassette tape.
Yeah.
Record.
Yeah.
Hey man, here's some tapes, man. Hey man, you're
Or
circulating.
if I wanted to learn how to do a certain scratch, I would have to pick up the needle every time. How do you do that again? Keep listening.
And then your record gets worn out. You know what I'm saying? It's
Well,
like,
wait, because speaking of Q&A though, we do have Q&A that is burning up.
Man, let's get.
So we got 2 more grind ops.
Okay.
Let's do 4 and 5, and then we're gonna get to some Q&A.
Let's do
Everybody
it.
like that?
Yeah,
Great,
right.
I love it. I agree.
She keeps us in line.
Hey man, because it's when you're having fun, man. It's fine.
Somebody.
So let's shoot to this next grind up. Fourth grind up of the day is in the field of, bam, live sound engineer. Okay, Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas Hotel is in need of 3 audio engineers for a 2-day event. Must be able to handle multiple fast-paced back-to-back recording sessions. That's cool because we were just kind of touching on something like this. You know, Vegas is always fun, and events are even funner. You know what I'm saying? I like getting calls to come smash an event because it's like, you know, man, all right, I'm at work. Okay, cool. Well, you know,
that back close to the door. Going,
exactly.
It's Vegas bag.
Vegas baby.
Let's roll grind op number 5, please. It's coming. Don't worry.
I'm gonna let you tackle this one down, Chloe. Go ahead.
Grind op number 5 is in the field of program director in Washington, D.C. Shout out, D.C. A high-profile studio is currently looking for a program director for its youth program, offering lessons in musical instruments and recording studio instruction. Looking for a self-starter with experience in all facets of musicianship and studio recording and a knack for creating monthly lesson plans. And this is coming to you out of Washington, D.C.
Hey.
That I mean,
And it's great. And it's great because Choc has been around a lot of program directors,
Yes,
man.
I
Like,
have.
what's that climate like? Just, I mean, obviously it's changed,
It's
but I know
changed.
you've seen it all.
I'll say when I was in commercial radio, it was cool. The program directors that I worked with over the years, from Rick Cummings, Jimmy Steels, Michelle Mercer, Steve Wall, you know, they trusted me. And they gave me, you know, there was still some rules at commercial radio that you got to follow by. You got to play the hits, you got to play the songs that are big for the station and what people are listening to. But then they trusted me. Like sometimes, okay, I feel like this underground record.
You can break a record.
I can break a record, 1 or 2. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I was in like that grand the time slot, traffic jam. So it's like they trusted me to break those records. But you know, in this day and age now, there's not so much trust with the DJs nowadays. I don't know why. You know, I'm not saying that once I left it all changed, but I did notice there's a big change. And from some of my friends that are still in commercial radio, they tell me it's not the same like when I was there.
Well, yeah, I think too. I think the playlist has gotten a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And I think the automation has kind of just kicked in for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it was when I was in radio, it was still talked about like, yeah, automation's coming. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not tripping on that. But now it's here.
It's
you know?
here, right?
Yeah, it's kind of taking over.
And I miss that. Like I miss that discovery factor. Like I'll never forget we did a record for Usher. It was called Play Me, and it was gonna be like the B-side joint. And I think you were the first one to play that record in LA.
I love that. I still love that record. That
And
record was big, man.
and because of that, it's crazy because it's that one record. Like when we get together and we talk, it's like we always bring that record up, and it's always like I always reference that to a time where DJs were able to like break a record, man. And it's like, man, I miss that discovery
because
factor.
like we get a record and we listen to it, and be like, oh man, I want to play this on the air today. You know, then you kind of have to figure out how am I going to program it because you know you have to surround something that's unfamiliar with hits. You have to put hits all around it.
Yeah.
So I remember with the Usher record, I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to play this. And it was what was it 104, 105 BPM or something like that? If I remember
105.
correctly.
Yeah.
And you know, at that time there was nothing that really that fast. So I think I mixed something. I forget what I mixed with it, man, but I found a way to make it work.
Yeah. And it was crazy. It's like you like there was a time where you would ask yourself, man, how did he get that record? Because I think I got a call from somebody who was like, yo, man, Choc's play me on the record. And I was like, impossible. Impossible.
There's no instrumental.
There's no
intro.
Yeah, there's no intro.
He didn't know I found a loop.
And I happened to catch it one time, and I was like, "Holy shit!" How did he get this first play?
He had somebody on the inside.
And right? but here's what's crazy. Like even within that process, when you break a record like that, you can actually force the hand of a label to get behind it because this record now takes off.
Of course.
It's crazy.
Well, that's what the DJs used to be on the
Yeah, right.
That's what this
Exactly.
whole- I
Because
mean,
we're the ones that have our hand on the pulse.
Pulse,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
look at the Rodney Bingenheimer, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the
Perfect
guy
example.
brought like a giants to America.
Yeah.
That was his thing. That's why
Yeah.
everybody trusted him. They knew that this is the guy. He was per se, curator.
Right.
He was a curator.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
To me, and I've always looked at DJs as curators. Like, there's a reason why we showed up to mom and pop's vinyl spots and just hours and hours going through vinyl, listening because it's like you discover something and then you're able to present it. And then
I think it's
Wait, because this chat is blowing up, y'all. The chat is just going, and we're going to get through these questions. Before we do, as a reminder to everybody watching, thank you if it's your first time. We do have our Facebook app, which is connecting artists and musicians and techs and everybody. We have a graphic. I don't know if it's available, but yeah, bam, that's our Connected Facebook
There
app.
it is.
So for you guys, I mean, this is even something great for you guys to share, because even though outside of what we do here, this is an app that allows other creators, other musicians to just network with each other in real time. You know, we got the whole GPS thing with it. So it's like, you know, I'm a DJ, you meet somebody 5 miles. I mean, it does that for you. So it just really, it's a great way to connect with other people. You know, if you ever need a sound guy, you can go to the Connected app. Hey, I'm DJ Axenzo and I'm looking for this.
Acapella.
Acapella.
That's the most important.
You know, and I always encourage.
Yeah,
And it's something we always encourage here, because I always say, you know, me and Chloe can come here every Monday and present opportunities, but application, and you got to be proactive. So it's a great way for our viewers to stay engaged, you know.
And that's great for people like in small towns. I come from a small town, so you know, like if you're not in like in a big city like New York or LA or some, you know, somewhere big like that, then it's good for these opportunities like this to kind of find a way to get in, you know, and find like-minded people that you can talk with and build with. You know, it's important.
Exactly, and like, dude, I'm always looking for acapella. So I'm like, man, let me see who's around. I don't want to drive all the way out to the city. Maybe there's somebody in Ontario or San Bernardino. You know, it's like, that's like, it's great for that kind of stuff. And it's a great way to just stay connected to other creators. So.
Yeah, well, to that point, we have a question for Choc. Paul from Duluth here.
Duluth, what's up, Paul?
He says, hi, Mr. Choc.
Hey, Paul, what's up, man?
Does collaborating with other DJs and artists really make you better? I just get frustrated with people.
Yes, it does. If you find like-minded people and people that you actually get along with, like I'm blessed to be in a crew, the Beat Junkies, and you know I feel I'm an okay DJ. I'm good, you know. But I think since we've been building this school, we've all been around each other, and I told all the guys too, and everyone sees what's going on now too. It's funny. I said the more that we're around each other and we're building this school, we're going to start teaching together. We're going to see our skill level go up a little bit, and we've all been doing it for a long amount of time, so you know, probably don't think we could get better, but we will. And yeah, for sure,
the collaboration.
That's just great, and that's great energy. And let me just correct you, man. By no means are you just I'm good. This dude is like, this dude is a master.
So, Axenzo, this is more for you, but Mike D in Austin, Texas says, I want to make EDM samples and make money selling them. Advice.
I haven't done that, so
Well, yeah.
I mean, for me, honestly, when I make my own samples, they are like my little babies. So if someone asks me, okay, I like your sample or I like your track, I will give you $10,000. I'm not gonna sell it. I mean, it's just me.
I'm not mad at that, bro. I'm the same way. It's for me. It's still like I sample kicks and snares still to this day. You know what I'm saying?
You're from that era, though. That's why. I'm with you 100%.
It's an interesting point he made. It becomes like you paint. Imagine you're an artist and you're sitting and you're mixing and you're trying to perfect it, and in the end, that's the paint. That's the color you worked on. And somebody comes in and just says, hey, you know what, do you want to sell it? It's like, what do you mean? It's like a part of me now. This is what I'm using.
It's part of me.
But at the same time, on this answer, this is the artist perspective who creates music, and this is why he does those samples.
Right.
But there are musicians and talented musicians out there who do make samples for sale. This is what they do. They make phrases, they make little loops, they make all this. They make single shots, and there is. If you're good at it, there is a market for this. There absolutely.
For sure.
Look at the companies that you think do a good job at this. Who are those companies that you're listening to their demo sample packs on the web and you say, man, that sounds really good. This is where you're going, because sooner or later you want to talk to them and say, I know what you make, and I think my stuff is better than yours.
I think I can kill that dude. I think I can smash
But do you know what I mean? But it's like, there is a commercial side to it. Absolutely. This is how there's a lot of companies doing it.
So then to that point, this is for everybody. DJ Freeze in ATL. Hello, Atlanta.
What up?
When do you know you need representation as a DJ?
One more time.
When do you know you need representation as a DJ?
When you start getting calls, and they're just becoming just where you can't call people back or text people back or email. You know, you need someone to handle the business part of it. Really, like for me, it took a while. I've been through a slew of managers over the years, and I think that when it starts getting busy and you know you can't return every call, return an email, then that's when you should definitely get it.
I agree.
It's also probably a level of requests as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you start seeing that there's a lot of requests and also the level of the request is on a level that
Yeah,
invite
like
you to White House,
clubs,
they invite you
events.
to the this
Yep.
opening in the new
Yeah.
hotel in Vegas, and you're like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
the A-list game.
Yeah.
I better
Yeah.
get somebody
Yeah.
who can,
And
Yeah.
my
can
partner.
handle that.
Yeah.
It has to be. I am doing my music, right? I'm doing my music. This is my product. Business part. Unfortunately, I did the same. I didn't have a manager, so I tried to do the business part and the music part by myself, and it's kind of like a failure. No, at the beginning,
That's
but
real
you are
shit,
learning
though. That's
from
real
the
shit, yeah.
experience. You are learning from the experience because
Yeah.
you are like, you don't know what is your rate, what
Right.
do you worth, how to sell yourself. Of course, you can do your Facebook ads, you can do your social media, everything, but manager is something you definitely need when
Yeah.
you come to a
Yeah.
certain point because it's gonna clear your mind.
Right. Well, and I think that's very valid because you know I think at some point you know your brain automatically partitions itself. You know
Yep.
when you get into
That's
creative mode,
That's right.
Yeah.
it's very hard to jump into that other mode
Yeah.
and not be objective or any of that. You know it does take.
I think
you know,
Chuck is correct. It's at a certain point you
Yeah.
will know.
you will know.
Yeah.
You will know.
You'll know.
I cannot do the. I cannot do it by myself
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Let me ask you the example. What's the biggest audience you've played in front of?
5,000.
Yeah.
And that you know. So if you see you're getting to that point, you know you're rocking. Yeah, definitely tug on somebody.
Look,
Yeah.
so Axenzo, this is
Yes.
this is two questions, but to the point of you were talking about representation.
Yes.
Derek from Santa Monica wants
Hi,
to
Derek.
know how you get most of your gigs.
How I get, honestly, people are reaching me. The past 6 months, I can say it was very, very busy. For some reason, Instagram hashtags are very important. People are literally, put all the clubs you want to play on your hashtags. People are literally going there and try to book you.
That's
Send you a
smart.
message.
That's a smart idea.
So that's what I
Yeah.
did. That's what I focus, and I of course sent message to them as well. But send a message. If they don't respond to you 100 times, send 101.
There you
They
go.
come
Be
to you.
persistent.
Be persistent,
Yes.
yeah.
It happened to me, and it worked.
Yeah.
So,
And then when you are playing and you're at a gig,
yes.
people want to know, specifically Soul in Denver,
Yes.
what are some EDM tracks that always get a rise from the crowd?
It very, very depends. I mean,
asking for
if
your
I want to be,
Asking for your secret ingredients, man.
Just give us 10, 15.
20.
I got a pen over here.
especially the tracks with the more a cappella, as you call it, chain smoker tracks,
Yeah.
because people like to sing with you. Okay, closer or I don't know. Mostly with the a cappella.
Soul, the rest you have to pay for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Find your own
What do you
recipe.
think about
No,
the
I mean they can email me.
let me ask you this,
I can
Zenzo.
give
What,
them-
what do you think about the chain smokers?
They are great.
They're great, right?
Yes, absolutely. They give the performance. They do the live show. That's what I'm kind of getting into that
Inspired, yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yes, they are very interactive. I am not a DJ that I just
Turn
sit
off.
and play. I like to
You perform.
Really, I like to
Yeah.
give the crowd my energy.
That's what it's
Right.
about.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah.
Because it's the synchronization. It's when I give, I take.
Yeah. I like that.
It's exchange.
That's what it is, though. You're giving out energy so the energy could come right back to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's full circle.
So
Chalk, we got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So
What'd I
look,
do?
I had to sit back. Freddie Mac in San Mateo
Okay.
says he feels like his ears get jacked halfway through his set. Why and how can I stop it from happening?
Probably because he's not listening to one side on his mixer, so he needs to put his mix volume in the Q and also adjust his volume. Like, you know, the thing is, what I notice about a lot of DJs, they have their Q volume in their headphones blaring, and then the monitor that's next to them is blaring. I can't DJ like that. It's like I can't have the music in my headphones just as loud as the monitor. It has to be softer. So soften your volume in your headphones. That's the way to do that.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I would say from the experience of just playing music, and in the end, that's pretty much what it is. It's being a musician and playing music.
Yeah.
Watch your ears.
Yeah,
man.
Watch your ears.
Watch your ears.
Because when you're 20, when you're 25, and you're out there, and when you're 16, and you cranking it out that your ears are bleeding, you feel invincible. At 45, you're not gonna hear hi-hats in the tracks anymore. Which means
so true.
You still can live and function, but you're not gonna mix your music anymore. You're gonna pay somebody because you cannot hear the high end, and your ears are gonna go down.
I learned that at a young age, like to really just soften that volume. You know, like some DJs, they're in there partying and having fun, drinking, and they're not really paying attention to the volume in their ears. If you have your volume at 10 in your headphones for 2 hours straight, that's gonna hurt you somewhere down the line. You have to soften that volume. You have to soften that.
Every time when you go to a concert or club, bring your earplugs. That's so important.
That's the one thing I'm hurting on. I need to bring earplugs a lot more. For sure.
And by the way, there these days everything is available. What a wonderful time we live in.
Yeah.
These days, you can get earplugs, and maybe you're not going to spend $2 in a 7-Eleven with the pieces of foam. Maybe it will be $50, $60, but you will get the plugs which will just bring evenly the frequency down. So you still have high frequency there. You don't feel like you have a pinky stuck in your ears and they don't hurt, and you can still hear everything. This is one of the best investments you can do in longevity to preserve, because this is your instrument. And you don't think about it, but this is your instrument. This is how you judge, this is how you make decisions. This is how you make music. It's not all here. It's here too. There's your speakers.
So
speakers.
So true, man.
Axenzo, Brent from New York. New York starts spreading I gotta stop doing that joke. Wants to know, if I do the recording connection, do I get to pick my mentor?
I mean, they will pick a great mentor to you. I didn't pick Patrick, but I am extremely thankful. And if I'm here right now, there is a very big percentage. I am thankful to him and for recording connection. So they are gonna choose the best mentor.
Has he ever came to one of your performances?
Not yet. He actually started to perform all over the world as well. He was in Europe. I've always invited.
Facility for DJs, whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, you can come to our school and get polished up and get educated.
Amazing.
All I can say is really like
better than this guy. I mean, seriously.
You guys, now we have to figure out how to replicate this and take it to like New York, Chicago, Atlanta.
I just want
my ears are open.
I
with a soft volume.
But the only thing is, we're gonna have to clone you guys.
Yeah, French.
But it only works if we're able to clone them. So you can't, the beat junkies.
Science is a wonderful thing.
Okay, then it's a tour.
Yeah, we already have a curriculum in place, so we're definitely ready to expand. We can talk about that. But just like if you want to learn anything about DJing, and it doesn't matter what genre of music you're into, doesn't matter what type of hardware you're playing on or whatever, that's what our school is. Our school is for everybody that loves the culture and the craft of DJing, and you can come and get educated by us.
What if I just want to come and learn just to crab scratch? Because I only want to just crab scratch.
Scratch cream. Goes down every Friday with Dabu and D-Stops.
It was funny, man. I remember having this convo with you. We're at NAMM. And we're listening to all these guys just scratch. And everybody scratch the same. It's like everybody's just like doing this. And it's there's nothing in between. It's just like, man, can we hear like some flavor?
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier about like applying your own style to those moves.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Like you don't want to sound. I don't want to sound like nobody in my crew. I love my brothers. I love the Junkie crew. But I don't want to sound like none of them. They're all super dope. You know what I'm saying? But I want to sound like me.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
That's
keep
no
your
shame
identity.
at all.
Yeah, you gotta keep your identity. Yeah. And then Axenzo, man, I know just, hearing your overall presentation, man, I'd really love for us to get together with him and maybe give him like an 808 tutorial on the DJ 808
Yeah.
and just
No, absolutely.
because I'm telling you, you get in front of one of these things, bro, man, you can put all your other stuff in the
you
shed.
know why? You know, there's a reason. There's a good reason why, and you know, we talked about this. The DJing evolved over time, as you were saying. You know, it's two turntables and going, and technology came in, and the computer and setup and everything. Very often, companies making some products because they feel like it's an engineer-driven world, right? So they want to nerd out, right? They want to make something cool, which is like all like great. There are cases in every company that they make something great, but it just doesn't sync. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just kind of goes parallel, and everybody kind of looks at it. This is amazing, but, and there's a but after that, right? So, DJ 808 was one of those products that actually there was a lot of research and into the culture done before it came out.
Oh, I know.
It wasn't just because, hey, what we're gonna do? Well, let's go with the DJs. Those guys kind of are cool these days, aren't they? We're gonna be with the cool kids. That was not this product, and I think a lot of people in the industry kind of look like, okay, so now Roland wants to like get into that game, and because it was absolutely not the reason. We could have keep doing what we were doing, and everything would have been fine.
Right.
The desire was to answer to what was going in the real life. And in the real life, we heard again and again and again that evolution of the DJing is, as we spoke many times about it, right? DJs wants to be producers on the stage. They want to make music.
Yeah.
They go farther, they become more and more musicians in the real life, producers in the real time, right there in front of you.
But there's nothing to push.
But there's nothing, you know what I mean? So the idea was a probably correct one, looking backwards and saying, wait a minute, we are the company that is at the foundation of majority of the sounds that you hear in all the remixes, and
808
DJing,
drum
everything,
machine.
808, 606, 909, TB303s, all of this. So if there is somebody who can merge two worlds, or at least make an honest attempt to do that and see what's going to happen in the end, that probably would be us. So let's just make that it wouldn't be here's my turntables or here's my desk, right, and here's a bunch of Roland gear and it's all these cables connected, and is it syncing, not syncing, what did I do wrong? Let's just put something in one box, in one place. So when you can make a beat at right there on the fly, whatever you feel like, you can compose while you're doing this. And that was behind us to answer this. And this is why I am so excited to see that we succeeded at doing this.
You guys did.
And we answered to this, because when we start putting it out, from the guys like you, from the guys like Melody, Jazzy Jeff, a whole bunch of guys that we went to in the very beginning, because we were, frankly, you know, some of us, not all of us, but some of us were like, let's see, like, what's the response is going to be?
Right.
Because you didn't know. Because it's a kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to say? Overwhelmingly, everybody said, this is it.
Yeah, but that's why I always make it a point to say, like, you know, there's very few that are willing to organically jump into the culture and really sit with the folks that can help you get it right. And I think we're at a day and age with all these companies, they got all the geeks in the lab, right? They got all the technology. But when you go to ask them and understand where their musicality is, they don't have it. So that's why that disconnect always exists. It's like, yeah, you got the dopest geeks, you got the dopest scientists, but show me one that can actually DJ. Show me that one can actually make a beat,
And
make
now
a
look
groove.
at this,
You
how
know?
it's, in the end, now it became a piece that bringing artists from opposite sides to the center of this, right?
Right.
Like Mr. Choc, for example. He is that generation that he came to this with all this knowledge doing this. Axenzo does a different way. Logic and everything cannot get more from musicians, kind of a computer scene coming in.
Right.
But that piece has both of those.
It does.
Capability.
Both of those guys in
It
this
does.
machine.
Yeah.
Each of them can take advantage of this
Yeah.
and enhance their workflow and, you know, in the creative process, and say,
Yeah.
no, I can really use this. This is gonna be great, and people respond to this. People like to see somebody making music on the stage and be involved as much as they can.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm gonna jump in and say this 808 Love Fest can continue. But before we close out, I do want to remind our viewers that we do have an additional 5 job opportunities that are I know, right? It's 10 jobs.
10 jobs a Monday, guys.
It's 10 jobs and tired. And bam, that's that graphic right there.
How
And
dope
these
is
are,
that?
right? 10
Yeah.
jobs.
Wow.
And they are only available on Connected on our, through our website.
On-air radio personality. Oh man, you got all kind of jobs.
All good stuff.
Dude.
You guys at 92.
See, when I always say that, man, every time like we really dive into what Connected is about, people always say, man, where was that when I was, man,
Yeah.
if I'd have known that existed.
Right.
You know,
right,
and
yeah.
that's true. I mean, I think just where, you know, technology has put us right now, we're able to do these things so much
Have
faster.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where can we find out more about, I mean, Igor, we know where to find, but where can we find more about where you guys are, what you're doing, your top secret mission that you can't say?
Da, 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 da.
I know.
You go first.
You first.
Okay. All right.
I just made him shy. I'm sorry.
Well, for me, I mean, I'm on all the social media platforms, so the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then anything about you want to learn about the school is at bjunkiessound.com.
Love it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
And you got something coming up with Serato? I'm not sure.
Yeah, doing let the cat out the bag. Yeah, but I'm doing some. We actually, the crew ourselves, we have some. Serato is one of our sponsors at the school, and we've been having a great relationship with Serato for years now. So we got a little video series getting ready to come out pretty soon. So
Oh, dope.
stay tuned.
I wonder,
for that.
Igor,
Yeah.
we should definitely, stay in tune with what they're doing at the Institute of
Oh,
Sound.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
With
absolutely.
Roland and you guys.
No,
Yeah, you got to
absolutely.
come down still.
I know.
Man.
I'll be there.
I know.
You know
Everyone's
what?
been busy.
Maybe we will sync up and we'll both go and check it out.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm so down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too. You pointed
Yeah,
them like
and you-
you too.
I just don't have enough hands.
Yeah.
And what about,
After some content.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
and Axenzo, where can we find more about you?
Instagram, Axenzo, Facebook, DJ Axenzo, SoundCloud, Axenzo, www.axenzo.com. And you can email me all your questions at info@axenzo.com or booking@axenzo.com.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say
I love it.
exactly what my tags were, but yeah, I have a fan page on Facebook, Mr. Choc, and then on Instagram it's the real Mr. Choc. So exactly the way it sounds, the real, the THEREAL, Mr. CHOC, not like chalkboard, chalk, like short for chocolate.
Challenge. I wonder what. And Igor, where are we finding more about you and Roland?
Well, this is very simple. Roland.com. We would try to, but on Instagram, it could be Roland_US. Same on Facebook. Roland.com is our global website, and for the first time, usually that something pops up and said, "Do you want to visit your local version of that site?" There's certain differences, could be localized, some things, so it's better to probably go on a local website and see some events or something which is local as well. But yeah,
And,
we have a very, very, same with Boss, which is also part of Roland. It's a Boss_FX.
That's see how big Roland is, man?
Yeah, it's easy. You go. We actually, our social media is very vibrant and very,
It is.
very active.
Yes.
Very active. This is something that it has a daily attention to. How much we post, what we post, everything. I know there's a lot of companies that just kind of like, things are just like thrown out there just to be there. Everything is analyzed and we're
Strategic,
very active. Our guys are very serious about it.
And shout out to Roland for letting us chill in the house
big
of
ups,
Roland,
Roland.
kick our feet up, and just
Word.
have the conversation. And I definitely want to get an 808 in front of you, man. Let you touch it, let you feel it, because I'm sure it could definitely add some value to your presentation. Because you are a performer, and
Yes.
to me, one of the things I loved about the 808 is it signifies performance.
And one more important thing, because before that we weren't able to request our equipment on stage. I mean, we were, but it was hard. And lately, instead of this, what they call it, industry standard, I mean, there's no industry standard anymore, but we can actually request whatever equipment we would like to use. So if I like to use Roland, I will say, okay, I'm going to use Roland,
Nice.
and I will be performing.
I mean, let me tell you
on
this, man.
stage.
It's got a nice travel bag, and it works. It works.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, man. We'll definitely keep the conversations going, man. And I
Absolutely.
just want to congratulate you on your
Thanks so much.
success. You're
I
moving
appreciate
fast
it.
out there, man. You're moving pretty fast.
With all the good vibes and good
Yeah,
energy.
and that's what it's about, man. And
Yeah.
to me, it's always great to see like just the culture get together, whether it's vinyl, whether it's controller, just to share the information.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and just thank you guys for coming out today, man.
No,
I know you
pleasure,
guys got
man.
busy
Thank you.
schedules.
Finally made it happen, man.
And
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
for
finally
having
make
me.
it happen. Me and Igor in the Connected team will get down to the sound, you know,
absolutely. That's
yeah,
the
Institute
down.
of
You're more
Sound.
than welcome.
And just
we'll
come
give you
hang
the
out.
word.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's not let's do lunch Los Angeles style. We're gonna be there.
I like that. I like that.
Igor keeps it 100
Yeah,
at all
I
times.
like Igor already. Yeah, come on
We're
down.
going.
Anytime
We're
you guys are
going.
more than
Yeah.
welcome to
We're
come.
going.
Anytime.
Yeah.
You too, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Yeah.
very
No,
much.
anytime.
We are all across social media at IZconnected. That is IZconnected. Did I spell that right? I did. We got graphics.
There's our
graphic
graphics.
1. There's graphic 2. Go graphic 2. That's it.
Run it.
That's it. We keep it simple. Thank you all for tuning in live today.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
so
you guys, and definitely
so much,
stay
everybody.
tuned with Choc and Axenzo. They got a lot of things going on in the culture.
Word.
And of course, my man Igor here at Roland keeps it 100. And you know how we do. We look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, you got all week to get things cracking. Stay motivated. Go out there and get it. Application is everything. None of this works without you guys doing what you do. All right, look forward to seeing you guys. I'm your host, DJ Iz, my lovely co-host,
I'm Chloe White Taylor.
and we will catch you next week. Until
Word.
then, peace.
Peace, y'all.
I